We're a little, sometimes. Anyway, whatever. Welcome to
We
Red
like to
River.
go dark in the summer.
Yeah,
That's what we call
we,
it. We call it in show business.
we're standing in unison with the writers. That's what it is.
That's
It's just
it.
like,
That's it. There you go.
but welcome to Red River Podcast number 158. Listen, Metallica. Everyone knows we love Metallica on the show. There's four of us on the show today, and we all went to. So I went to the second day. Langan and Joe went to the first day, and Nick, you went to both. So we're gonna welcome back Nick Greystone from Demon Scar. You also started a new podcast. I got my boy Joe from Outburst. I want to talk to everyone specifically about their situation right now. I'm going to start with you, Nick. You just did your first episode of your brand new podcast. So just tell us how that went.
I was nervous as shit because usually this is what I do. I'll hop on to someone else's stage and I'll talk, but I'm not really steering the ship. So I felt like this was something totally different for me. So I was nervous as shit, but like once I started, I got into a groove, and from the positive feedback that I got, man, there's so many people that reached out to me, and even the guy that was running it. I did a Governor's podcast, their studio, and it went really well. I watched back, and I wasn't mortified with like the camera angle. I wasn't mortified on like with the shit I was talking about. I kept it interesting, and it's a new thing that I'm going to be doing. So yeah, Primal Scream with Nick Greystone. Right now it's on Tuesdays at 9:00, but that's until September. Then I'm going to shift over to Thursdays at 9.
Oh, also Primal Scream. Obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, Nick is a huge Motley Crue fan, so that definitely is an homage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely like a tip of the hat to them. I was going to do This Side of the Wild Side, but I felt like Primal Scream covers more bases. I feel like Wild Side would have just been like, all right, he's just going to go up there and get crazy and talk nonsense, but felt like Primal Scream could talk about like everything. So I thought it was a cool name. Plus, I dig the song, and that's why I picked it.
No shout out to anything from Generation Swine, I guess.
Afraid. I was very afraid yesterday.
You could have done On With the Show, man. That'd be great.
Oh, dude, On With the Show. Actually, I did that a long time ago. I had a public access TV show that I did out of my basement that was on Cablevision, and it was called On With the Show.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh, I didn't
Not
know.
many people do, and it's probably for the best.
I didn't know the type of celebrity that we had on this show. That's
no, dude. Believe me, it's very EF list.
Yeah, I'm just joking. But shout out to Marion Cobretti in the back too. I see him sneaking up behind you.
Absolutely.
Joe, man, I love this second win that Outburst has gotten. I wish I was in town to go hang out with you. You guys are playing Knockdown Center with Sick of It All,
Life of Agony, Pain of Truth,
Long Island Boys. Yeah, Pain of Truth.
Regulate. Yeah. It's gonna be on August 27th. You'll be out of town, I guess.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, you'll be there? Okay, see you there. Come up and say hello. And it's been a crazy ride. I mean, not too many stories of like second lives, especially for a New York hardcore band from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And then for it to have lasted this long, and like, we got like a I don't want to say tribute, but we got a cover album out of it with all the new bands from this generation, and documentary made and a re-release, Blackout Records. Thank you, Darren Nanos. Thank you, Bill Wilson. And starting in 2019 or 2020, it's been a pretty cool like second wind.
Yeah, man.
And then making friends with guys like Power Trip and all the newer bands, and getting we met Speed back in April from Australia, and they did this little nice documentary. They were like, oh, I'm gonna try to do an Australian accent. Outburst was like carved in my brain when I was learning about hardcore back in the day. Like that's how.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's been nice to kind of be an influence. I think influential is kind of like an underrated thing because you can be influential and no one's ever heard of you. But
Yeah.
when other bands have, you know, mentioned you and dropped your name, it's kind of cool that a new generation get here's the name, maybe goes to Spotify or Apple, checks it out. That's kind of like a 6 degrees of like, how'd you hear about this band? I never heard of them. And then, our goal is to have Post Malone,
Yeah.
because we're 1 degree away from Post Malone because I see him wearing Sicko It All stuff.
Yeah.
He hangs out with Power Trip. He's hung out with Speed, so we're right there. So Posty,
I'm just gonna say this about Post Malone. I didn't know what he sounded like at all. I just saw, he's just a guy. Like I didn't
yeah,
really know or care that much, but like, okay, cool. Salute to you for doing your thing. Me and my girlfriend were eating dinner somewhere, and I think it's like Sayville, and they had like the music blasting, and it was like a playlist that sounded like Fleet Foxes and the Shins. Like it just sounded like shit from Brooklyn from like 2010. And like this song popped on. She's like, "Oh, that's Post Malone." I was like, "It is?" I'm like, "That's Post Malone." I'm like, I just pictured like somebody who rapped, but I guess he doesn't rap
Yeah.
anymore.
It's like that sing-songy kind of, I
yeah.
don't know, auto-tuned, whatever the
No,
fuck
but
it
it's
is.
not
Yeah.
even that anymore. It's like literally like you could have told me it was the Fleet Foxes or like Grizzly Bear or
Oh,
like
really?
any random ass like fucking like hipster playlist from 2010. Yo, it's fucking kind of bugged out. But yo, shout out to him. Maybe we'll get him on the
Yeah.
show once he shouts out Outburst. So.
I
There you go.
last year, man. I think he's fucking doing, something different, and I dig it.
He connects with people. Like, I mean, like, listen, Joe Rogan just posted him on Instagram, and he was just like, "Oh my god, the show is amazing." I mean, not that Rogan knows anything about music, but you
Nah,
Yeah,
know,
he's
but
pretty bad.
now they put out it's a picture of those two together, and it's like you strike up a conversation with somebody hanging out of Jackie Riley's at 3 a.m. and
oh
it's like
yeah,
I'm like mugging out or whatever.
I love it. But so
Yeah.
going back to what you were saying about influence too, before we move on, to go back to Metallica, I mean, the first place I heard the Misfits were when they covered them, and I think Glenn said it too, like the Metallica covering Last Caress and Green Hell really like brought like a brand new wave of
Yeah.
kids. And that was me. Like when I heard it on Garage Days, I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing. So
Yeah.
Langan,
Which was all Cliff's doing, you know?
yeah.
Cliff put them on all,
Yeah,
put the
man.
Misfits on all three of those guys' radar, I
Well,
think.
I
But
tried to after the show, like I tried to explain to my girlfriend because she was kind of lost about the band members and stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. But then of course I put on Cliff 'em all, and I was like, listen to For Whom the Bells Toll here, like this is like the shit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and I just want to say Joe claims Kirk, so the Filipinos.
We
I'll,
claim Kirk. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. So, yo, I sat next to like 6 Filipinos. Like it was amazing. I wanted to like
Ah,
I didn't know if I should mention your name. I didn't know if how small the community is, but like it was like a line. It was just like I was like, yo, this is everyone's here rocking with Kirk. But so okay, let's talk about our experience at the show because at first I didn't really want to go. And Langan, I want to bring it to you because you brought your son, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden your son is really into music. He's doing like guitar. I don't know what is that, guitar school or something.
School Rock, yeah. He's
That's it.
playing
That's it.
bass.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, like just I mean, and you posted a video of him singing King Nothing, which then like, it's to all us old guys were like, okay, this is what it's about. Like maybe we don't like the song King Nothing that much, but like you see it through the kids' eyes. So,
Yeah.
tell us.
100%, man. It was one of the best nights of my life. It was outstanding. It was the first band he seen where he knew the tunes going there, which is such a big deal. You know what I mean? Because I dragged him to Maiden just so he could see it, and but he didn't know it, so he's going to this show knowing the songs, ready to sing along. And a big arena show like this, Metallica, it's always an 11 out of 10 production wise. If you're a casual fan, if you're not a fan, you're going to be entertained. It's perfect. So yeah, when they would, I've definitely changed my grumpy old Metallica man fan. And the certain things they always bitch about, the Black Album and I've come to like I don't feel that way about it. I'll never like load, reload, or Saint Anger really that much. That's not going to change. But as far as like King Nothing, not a big song of mine or whatever, but he knew it. He knew the words and vibing off of his reaction to it and me flashing back to the first real show I ever saw was Metallica on the Justice tour with Queensryche. Saw him twice on that tour. So that whole experience in my head, it just made it like I mean,
Full circle,
perfect.
man.
Yeah, it was
So-
really it was one of the best nights of my life.
So
Seriously.
Nick has a daughter,
Yep.
Zoe, right?
Yes.
So you bring her, like, she's kind of young too, and you bring her literally everywhere from like this. You went to the horror convention this weekend. You took a picture with Snoop Dogg, which I think is fucking amazing. And did she go to Metallica with you or not?
No, not this one, man. Like, she wants to go the next time because she hears me talking about it. She hears my her mom talking about it. Her mom's fiance is a diehard Metallica fan, so I want to bring her to it. I just didn't bring her this time, so I went with a couple of different friends each night, and yeah, it was cool. It was awesome. I was very impressed. Like Lanigan said about the stage setup is always something to see, and it just proves right now that Metallica is the king of the hill right now as far as metal bands out there doing it well, still having the respect. And I feel like even with this new album, it's really fucking good, man. Like it's some of the best stuff that they've put out in a long time. And some of those new tunes work well with the older stuff. And I was happy to hear some of those new tunes.
Great mixture, and we'll get to like I wanted to go through both set lists like towards like the middle of the show so we can kind of close out with it. But let's talk about the first night because all three of you guys went to the first night. Nick, you went to both, right?
Yeah.
So who wants to talk about Mammoth? You're a big
I didn't go in for them.
Okay, so I mean, Joe, you're one of the biggest Van Halen fans on the planet. You're such a big Van Halen fan that you think Van Hagar's good.
Yes. And everybody,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm never giving that grudge up. I'm taking that one to the grave.
are we going there again with?
So how did Wolfie do?
Yeah. So actually, on the way in, I'll just backtrack a little bit. The confusion was because according to the flyers, it looked like Pantera was the smaller print and Mammoth was above it, and then Metallica. So we're like, man, that can't be right. Why is Pantera opening up for Mammoth WVH? They've only been around for like one album. And so driving in, my buddy who I went with was like looking at the Reddit and things like that for like clues, like because we were stuck on the Jersey Turnpike trying to like get to the stadium like everybody else. And we
Sounds about right.
Window of time, right? So eventually, someone said no, because this is the first show of the U.S. tour, right? So there's no precedent. So we're like, man, if Mammoth is going to be ahead of Pantera, we better get there before, with plenty of time to see Pantera's set. The whole set.
Can I cut you off for 1 second and
Yeah.
just tell you that is the craziest conclusion that I've ever heard in my life? But go ahead.
I know. And so,
on what planet would that ever happen? Go ahead.
exactly. But that's the way it looks on the poster, on little graphics. So we're like, I don't know. Usually when it's from top to bottom, right? The headliner's on top, and then
I think Wolfie made the flyer, but that's besides the point.
Totally possible. Yeah. And so what wound up happening is we got through our parking spot through security, and it was like spot 6:30, and Mammoth. You had heard like someone's like strumming the guitar. We didn't know because we couldn't see the field yet. Not even like the end zone or anything like that. So people started like running who were like in the outskirts of the stadium. We ran and we're like, oh wait, that guy's too fat to be Phil. But it turns out Phil. Yeah.
He could catch up.
Phil got a little beer belly after all these years. But we had to look because they had, as I'm going to describe it now for everybody who's listening, Metallica stage plus the openers had a circular stage at the 50-yard line with like poles of video screens so that literally everybody could see what was going on. Yeah.
Great production.
Yeah. So once we got the visual that was Wolfie. Like during the 30 seconds into the first song, I'm like, oh, this is Mammoth. All right, cool. So now we can go to the merch line with time to spare.
Yeah.
You want to get some food, but you can still hear it the way
You can still hear it. Yeah.
the way MetLife Stadium is like constructed. You can hear it fine. So we got to the merch, 20 minutes. It wasn't that bad. So we got to Mammoth about 3 or 4 songs in. And if you're asking me like how they sounded really tight. Like their drum. I'm not familiar with the personnel, but I know Wolfie has like he's got this like I could play like a Prince feel to him. He could play guitar, he could sing, he could play the drums.
I think he has Jizzy Pearl in the band.
Is that
I just figured he's in every band.
Yeah. So for Van Halen fans, he didn't do any Van Halen songs. He's trying to like set his own legacy, stand on his own too.
Yeah.
Which I expected. That's totally fine, and I'm sure Eddie would have liked it that way. So probably a lot of Van Halen.
His new album just came out that day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that day. But that gave me a barometer for the sound of the stadium, because the last concert I went to at MetLife was Guns N' Roses in 2016, and it sounded really good. Like even like Lenny Kravitz, who was the opener, it sounded great. But the way the stage was set up, it was like the amps are coming at everybody at every angle. So I kind of got a good feel for the sound.
Cool.
Which we're gonna. I don't know how you guys feel.
I did. I loved it. I thought it was like a really cool production and all of that other stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, just the fact that like when you're there, everyone could see everything. You're not like sitting in the corner. Like whenever I see like ticket prices or like seating availability, there's like one that's like behind the stage, some shit, and you're like,
right.
Fuck are you doing? That should cost $2 if you want to go sit there. It's like when they sell that front row in the movie theaters, you're like, just give these tickets away because no one wants them. Like no one's gonna sit here. So
I thought it was really nice of Metallica to put Mammoth on that.
Yeah.
Even just put them on the opening slot, the opening slot.
Yeah.
But I thought they were good. They weren't like terrible. Like I can't wait to go to the bathroom, or I did go to merch out of because I didn't want to miss Pantera. Yeah. But that's the only reason why. But I was able to hear like maybe 60% of the set from my seat, and they were good.
Good. Nick, so let's go to Pantera. Nick, what'd you think of their set?
Dude, I said it last night on my podcast, and like, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I had tears in my eyes, dude, because anytime that I've ever heard that Pantera were going to do something without Dime or without Vinny, I was like, why are you going to fucking drag this legacy through the mud just for a cash grab? I feel like this was their redemption. Phil had so much negative press throughout the years.
Oh, yeah.
I feel with being blamed to breaking up the band, to all the other shit that he did not phone it in, man. Like he was into it. The crowd was into it. Great set list. They fucking rocked, man. Like I loved every minute of it. And I was nervous about Zach, because Zach is a totally different tone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like Pantera featuring Zach Wilde. It was Zach Wilde trying to emulate Dime's sound, and he did a really fantastic job. And Charlie's a session drummer, man. He can play. He's fucking great. I love Charlie Benante. So like, I feel like they picked two suitable guys for the role, and they gave Pantera fans a treat.
Very cool. Langan, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought they were great. I don't know where you guys were. I was up in the nosebleeds and stuff, but the sound I thought was a little off. I didn't love the sound, how they sounded, but as far as the band goes, they were tight as shit. Charlie was amazing. Zach did justice. I was taping the solos, sending them to Jeff. He's like, send me the solos. I'll forward it to Zach. I'm like, wait, so we can hear what it sounds like from a shitty phone, like on top of the MetLife Stadium.
What was paid for it too? Film anything of it. I said I didn't film anything of it because I was so caught up in it, and just in the moment, I'm like, holy shit, 3/4 done. I didn't even take one picture, so I had to scramble at the end just to take a picture that, like, just to have, But man, like, I was on the floor for them.
I'm concerned about Phil getting like athlete's foot or something. He needs to put some shoes on out there.
Yo, what? Yeah. Honestly, like we're watching.
There was backstage pictures of him in the bathroom
Same.
in MetLife with no shoes on. I couldn't take it, man.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe it's swamp life that he's used to, but but like we're watching. I wanted to see like some of the footage, and I went to YouTube, and my girlfriend's like, "Why does Phil have no shoes on?" I'm like, "It's a good question."
Yeah,
I have
like
no
like he
idea.
was at the beach or something, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
He was like Rollins. He was doing the Rollins thing, I think.
yeah.
You
He
know?
was in Point Break.
Yeah.
One thing I like to add about Pantera, well, two things actually, but for the visuals for people who didn't catch the night one set with Pantera, on Charlie's kit for his double bass, he had Dime and Vinny's faces on the front outward facing skins. That was really nice, like a tribute to the brothers, you know.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then
Zach's vest too. Yeah, had
yeah,
both of them on it too.
face, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Benanti, like, and Zach, like, I think there was a couple times during like Mouthful War or fucking Hostile where like I'd close my eyes. I'm like, this sounds pretty much just like the record. And
Yeah.
I think Nick had said it, like, it's like you're amazed by like these two guys. They're filling in. I mean, they are playing two other guys' stuff, but they did it. There must have been some good practices, man, because they
Yeah.
got it like tight, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure did.
And it
I'm
was
glad
fun.
we got to see him though, because I don't think it's gonna, it's gonna run its course like,
And I
this
think it should.
opportunity.
I think it should.
Yeah,
I think like
100%.
let it ride out this way. Like there's no
Summer festivals perfect for that.
yeah, like I don't want to see this like in 2 years and 3 years. Like it's just like not one.
I don't think he will.
So all right, yeah, and then the first night, first of all, man, let's compare some of these songs here. Because I was looking.
Oh wait, can I just sorry to interrupt you, Sam, but did anybody go to Prong or catch
Oh
up?
yeah.
I didn't
I
go. We were there early, but we were eating. And I was like, "Do you want to hear them?" He's like, "I don't know them." And I was like, "Whatever." I've seen them a million times, but did you guys see?
I got there mad early, and what happened was they tried to put me in this parking spot, which was kind of a ways away, and I wanted to get closer to where Prong was so I could tailgate and listen to them. And I'm driving, and I see these two kids standing by this sign that says "Media and Press," and I just drive up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm with the media," and they're like, "Oh, right this way, sir," and it was literally the fucking where you walk in to watch the bands. So
That's great.
if they would ask me who I was
Nice.
just Art Mooney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art Mooney. Oh yeah, I'm Art Mooney.
So did anybody catch the set? Because I didn't
did.
myself. Oh, you did?
Nah.
It was good. They sounded great.
Because I was telling the two guys I was coming in with, my buddies, I'm like, who don't really know Prong from anything. Maybe they know Snap Your Fingers from like ECW theme song or something back in the 90s. But
They
Tommy
played
Vic,
about 5 minutes, about I don't know, 12, 13 songs maybe.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tommy Victor used to be the sound man at CBGB's
Yeah.
and I knew him from Sunday matinees when we would play, and he was so nice to us, little snot-nosed kids trying to play New York hardcore on a freaking Sunday afternoon. And he would just like, he would do our soundboard tapes, and during sound checks, he was like so like forthcoming and really friendly. Like, how does that sound to you? So I would always see him like, every show and shake his hand and say what's up. But I knew him as the sound guy from CB's. And then when that was kind of around the time when Prong was kind of making their bones.
Right.
So I was like, oh, it's amazing. And then they got like in the early 90s, they really took off.
And
So
oh no, God.
now I was gonna say I would have loved to go see them and maybe even like, hey, you remember me? But probably not.
Yeah.
But I was stuck on the turnpike for Prong. So unfortunately, I couldn't catch our set.
we all were for sure. But and he looks great too. Like an older guy definitely has to be. And we just saw Prong because they played with Obituary and Black Label, right? Langen at Irving Plaza, and they were great.
Yep. Tight as hell, always. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'll give you my experience with Second Day real quick, and then we'll talk about the set list. Man, I wasn't gonna go, but we're hanging out. Like I played a show at Rockaway Beach on Saturday, and my fucking girlfriend, who's never mentioned Metallica in her whole fucking life that we've been dating, we're like sitting there. She's like, I really wanted to go to the Metallica show. And I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind right now? It's like Saturday. I'm like, we could have gone yesterday. She's like, I don't know. I would have gone. And I'm like, really? Like, fucking really? Like, you never in your life have ever said, hey, can we listen to Blackened? You know what I mean?
What was one of her, is that the reason or just
What's
random?
up?
Was
Oh,
one of her friends going or is it just random?
no, it was just like, I don't even know. I think she was just kind of like pummeling me about shit. And that was like one of them. And I really wanted to go see Metallica. So then, like, we're driving home from Rockaway and we go get dinner at a diner. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck. In my head, I'm thinking, like, fuck this shit. And I go to Facebook and I'm like, sell me your Metallica tickets for tomorrow. And then a friend of mine hit me up. He's like, I have 2 that I'm not even using. You could have them. I was like,
Awesome.
all right, I guess we're going. And she's like, we are? And she's like, I have a birthday party to go to tomorrow. And I was like,
You called the bluff.
I've and I was like, what time is your birthday party? She's like, 1. I'm like, okay, exactly. They fucking probably play at 9:00. So you got 8 hours. Let's go. So anyway, so we go. I really would have loved to have seen Overkill and Metallica, but that was like 3 p.m. in a
What?
parking lot.
That's it? On
Yeah.
that lineup? That's all you wanted to hear?
I don't even know who was. Oh, Ice Nine Kills
I've never heard that.
and
Five Finger.
Death
Yeah.
Punch.
2 bands I don't really know much about, but I, you know, bless their hearts. I'm sure they're good at what they do. I just didn't want to. I had no interest, so that alleviated the pressure of like rushing there. So we went, and by the time we got there was no parking in the stadium anymore.
Yeah,
And
talking.
we had, yeah. So we were like fucking like we didn't know what to do, and like our pod partner Parker was there, and he's like, "Oh, Five Finger just ended," and it was like 7 and change when they ended. And I'm thinking, like, "Fuck!" I'm like, maybe it's Sunday. Maybe Metallica's gonna go on early. Maybe they'll do 8:30. So I'm like fucking stressing. They're like, "Oh, you got to go park at American Dream," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" But like all of us, it's like fucking like, it's just insane, right? And then we have to walk over on this bridge, and I'm like fucking angry, and like it's just unbelievable. But then we find our seats and we sit down, good, like unobstructed seats, probably at 8:30. And I'm like, okay, ready to go. And, you know, lo and behold, there were still 30 minutes till they even fucking played. And I was like, whatever. I didn't really care. By that time, I was like I was happy to have just made it. And there was something, you know, like I just knew that we were going to get 2 hours of magic. And man, just great. So looking at the set list for the first show, and the second show, I know the 2 openers, one was Creeping Death, and then we got Whiplash. Just out of curiosity, going around the room, Langan, who won?
Oh, for me, I was glad I got Creeping Death, but your package, your first 3 out the gate, I was pretty jealous. That was a pretty
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna go back and forth, so we'll talk about them. So you're gonna go with Creeping Death, right?
yes.
Nick,
Creeping Death.
Joe.
That's a tough one, man. It's like I'll take the one you don't want because they are both amazing songs. So yeah, I would have been fine with Whiplash also.
What's a better start of a show,
course.
though? What's the better start, you think?
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
I've seen them a bunch of times, and they open with Creeping Death, but I've never seen them open with Whiplash.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
you know, it's like man, and a little envious there. But Creeping Death's great, you know.
No, that's a good point. I've seen them a bunch of times, and I don't think I've ever seen them do Whiplash, or they did maybe once.
Yeah.
But they always do Creeping Death because it's such a good chant in the middle of the song that everyone's like, you know, like it gets you like riled up.
If I could a tidbit to that though, I really, really miss Jason Newsted on those 2 tunes. When he used to play those songs and sing the parts and stuff and get those fucking die chants going. No dissing Rob, man. He's great, but like those are Newsted, dude. I love him when he plays it. Not Newsted tunes. I know it's, you know, the original Cliff, but Newsted owned those tunes, man.
Absolutely.
You could thank Echo Brain for all of that.
Yeah. That's true. Man, I talk about a very, very bad decision. But anyway, so you know what I love? I love the song Harvester of Sorrow.
Me too. Great.
So if you ask me, that's one of the best songs. First of all, I think Injustice for All is the best album on the planet. So
I think that's my favorite Metallica album is
right?
Justice.
So Langan, you guys got Harvester, we got Ride the Lightning, and I'll tell you right now, I'll just skip to my answer. Harvester all the way. I don't know what you think.
It's so hard because I want both of those songs in my set list. You know what I mean? It didn't happen that way. But as far as just yeah, I was happy to get Harvester of Sorrow because I know how to play that song. I got a lot of history with that song. I would have loved the Ride the Lightning or that guitar solo and shit to have heard that too. But
Amazing.
yeah.
So I'm guessing Nick, you're going with Harvester as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Joe?
Yeah, clean sweep because the rarity of them even playing an album cut from Justice, which is not blackened or one, and for like Harvester, like if they had done Freight Ends of Sanity, you'd be like, whoa, that's something,
Whoa.
something like that. But Harvester is just right up there with the obscurity of like
Harvester was a big cut though because they I remember the 12-inch when it came out with Bread Fan on the prints in the back and that Puss Head artwork. It had its own T-shirt and everything. I'm talking like when the album came out, it was big. And then over the years, it kind of became like you said, Joe, like a little bit of a forgotten cut.
Yeah,
but, man, it had its own artwork.
It's such a great riff. Like it's just like pure, like for a band that had so much speed, like when that song dropped, it was like it was just like dun, 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 dun,
and the line
dun.
"Let the beatings begin" on a live scenario. It's fucking dope. Yeah.
So continuing to go Holier Than Thou and For Whom the Bells Toll. I mean, like that's a clean sweep, right?
Oh yeah. See, what I loved about Sunday is those three songs together, though.
Yeah.
Something about that. That's a powerful trio right there to come out the gate as a whole. But yeah.
Yeah. I saw. Did you guys any of you guys go to Orion Festival when they did the Black Album? Okay, so that was an amazing festival. It was 2 nights in Atlantic City, and they did the Black Album in its entirety, and then they did Ride the Lightning. Those were the 2 that they picked. It was probably like 2010 or something. And then like
I don't know why I didn't go to that.
And fucking Lars curated the whole thing. That's why Ghost was on it, Gaslight Anthem, Arctic Monkeys, fucking Suicidal, like just like it literally was like my fucking iPod at that time, and it was just amazing. So like it was fun to watch those. But like when they play For Whom the Bells, I mean, listen, it's Sunday. I'm watching them, and they fucking hit me hard. They just hit me with Whiplash. They fucking hit me with fucking the hell did I say?
Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning and Bell, and I'm just like, whoa. By that time, I knew I was going to get hit with something like Memory Remains, which is what happened.
I'm due. They're due.
But like by then, it's like you're like tickling my balls. I'm about to come, and like anything feels good. So I'm like, I'm listening to Memory Remains. I'm like, you know what? It ain't that bad.
Did you sing along? Did you do the Mary Unfaithful part with everybody?
I did. But like,
that works live.
It just hits differently when you hear it live, and like the whole crowd is like singing these songs and stuff. So, but I wanted to do like the first 3. Is there anything else like Langan in particular for your night that was like a highlight for you as far as like the set list
of all the songs they played, of like everything?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say I was happy I got the Master of Puppets closer.
Yeah.
Over Sandman, obviously.
Hell
yeah.
Yeah.
And
thank God.
But I do wish of the 72 Seasons song, I got the Screaming Suicide. I wish I heard that maybe in opposed to like Shadows Follow or something. But again, it was all good, man. Fuel isn't a Metallica song that I ever fucking listened to, you know what I mean? But in that live scenario with the pyro going off, my boy having a good time, like it was wonderful, man. You know, like awesome.
In
So
context of the context of the evening, of the moment you were in it, right? You were
I
all
was
up.
all about it, man. They
Yeah.
could, I really uh was having a moment just I took for granted their existence because what a big deal in my life they were for a long period of time, and then they weren't, and then you know what I mean. And I'm so glad that they're still out there and they're still putting shows on, and I'm so grateful for it. And again, I the 72 seasons when we first reviewed it, me and Sam were talking about it. Was okay with it. I didn't picture myself going back to it, but it really is a fucking strong record. So I was if they went into the newer shit whenever they did, I was okay. I was ready for it, you know.
Yeah,
I thought
for sure. Nick, anything? You went to both nights, so
so.
I got. I want to ask you, yeah, like what did you prefer?
I love the well. I did a tally and I canceled out the 3 new songs that they put because I didn't care to hear one more than the other. Um, I just wanted to see how they fit with the new stuff, with the old stuff. But playing Orion, I fucking lost my mind because I've never heard that live before. And even the second night when they played Call to Cthulhu, like I just those are two rarities, man. So I thought that was very cool that they could play those songs. And I was disappointed with just one thing. I've never heard Leper Messiah before live. I thought that I was due because they started playing it in Europe for the beginning of this tour and they switched it out. It was like their third song, like every other set. And I thought it was coming, man, and it didn't. And I was just disappointed with that, but that's okay, man, because anytime they come around, I'm going to go, and hopefully one day I'll be able to hear that song. But solid set, man, like both nights. But yeah, I'm happy that I got to hear Orion.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, like I think out of the newer stuff, the one song that I really just don't like on the album is the one that they played that night, which was Burn. I think it's called Burn.
Oh, you must burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your least favorite on that record, right?
It is, yeah.
When we ranked it, yeah.
Yeah.
But neither day had Screaming Suicide though, right? Because I looked at the set list.
I don't know if they played it yet. Even I don't know if my son was here, he'd know. Like he could correct me because he's been following the European shit. But I don't know if they had played it at all.
Yeah, you're right because it was like Lux the second, and I love Too Far Gone, so I'm glad we got that. I think that's a really good song. You know.
Oh yeah, and Sanitarium. I was happy to hear that.
Yeah, and so Joe, give me some highlights.
Yeah, let me just respond to Nick. So Sanitarium was day 2. We missed that, but we got Fade to Black on our night.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like the
fine.
Yeah, that's like one or the other. They're both like the build up and everything and the brooding stuff. So we got Fade to Black at least. But I was happy that we got Battery and Master.
Fuck yeah.
On our night. And I just felt a little bit of sadness for all the Stranger Things people who went on day 2 and was hoping to hear that because they had just gotten into Metallica or they saw that season and they were all into it because that's the thing with no repeats is they try to get you out to both nights and so you don't miss anything. But Sad But True was good. Was a number that was really good.
I love Sad But True. Sad But True is probably my favorite song off the Black Album with like maybe the God That Failed.
Me too.
Yeah, God That Failed is great.
For me, Sad But True is ruined by Kid Rock because every time I hear it, I just want to bust into American Bad and see the fake Undertaker ride out in his Harley. So I get easily distracted, but it's still a great song.
I forgot that he did that, so thank you. Now it's ruined. I take that back. I forgot.
I totally forgot too.
Right, man. I totally forgot that was even like a fucking thing.
Whatever. You can't forget. See.
Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna ruin Warren Zevon for me.
I was bummed that I didn't get one, only because I love the the strobe light gunshot thing or whatever. And I kind of told my son, I was like, I was really hoping he saw that shit. You know what I mean? Because I remember at the Big Four show at Yankee Stadium, it was fucking intense. Bah, 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 the fireworks fucking going off.
Yeah.
But c'est la vie, what are you gonna do? I got tickets. We got tickets for both nights for the Austin live stream at the Island 16 Cinema. So me and him are going to see both night one and night two, the
Oh,
movie
that's
theater.
cool. When is
Yeah.
that?
The
18th and 20th.
Yeah, that one. Yep.
18th and 20th.
It's
cool.
You can see it the night of, or they're replaying it the night after.
Very
Both,
cool.
yeah, both nights. I'm thinking about going, but I'm wondering if I go only one night, will I get the same exact set that I saw? I don't know. I don't know how they're doing their set lists. Night to
I
night.
think they're gonna pop shit in and out here and there and
That
tinker
makes
with
sense.
it.
Yeah.
If the European thing, what they did over there is like a template, what they're gonna do here, I think there's gonna be. I mean, I think primarily it would be with a few like slide out these two, slide in these two, something like that. What
I
did you
did.
guys think of the merch game at the?
Before
You
we even
guys
get to the
crew?
merch, I want to finish with Joe. Joe, just give me more
Yeah.
of like
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say another highlight was well, not really a highlight, but Kirk before Nothing Else Matters, he kind of, how everybody takes like
Yeah.
their bathroom breaks, and like Lars and James need to go like take a piss, so Trujillo and Kirk will do like a noodling thing. So I guess the other three guys got their little breather, and Kirk did like a little solo, like a little noodling thing, I guess they call it, where you don't know what he's doing, but it sounds he's clean. He's got, is just picking stuff, and then he kind of works it into the beginning of what's coming next, which is Nothing Else Matters. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool how you weave that in there. And by the time they're starting to be intro to that, like Lars still has time to, tie his shoes or whatever, or drink his 5-hour energy.
Yeah.
Just the planning that comes into it, I was like, kind of cool to see that. And then the other thing is to see the camera focus in on James, because James does that solo and Nothing Else Matters. And I remember when I first bought the Black Album, I was like, man, that's a really tasty solo by Kirk. And then you see the video, whatever, a couple of months later, I'm like, oh, that's Hetfield the whole time. Pretty good,
Yeah. I Nothing Else Matters hurls. That's my favorite part of the song. That's all I remember whenever he sings that is Nothing Else Matters hurls.
Yeah.
I don't know what that even means, but it's so great. Shout out to Kip Winger in that video, makes a quick cameo.
I have a little funny story about Nothing Else Matters. So, Nothing Else Matters was my wedding song. Obviously, we didn't go the distance. We're divorced, but we're friends now, so we fuck with each other here and there. So I was drunk, and they started playing it, and I drunk texted my ex-wife, and it was a choice between Nothing Else Matters and Motley Crue Without You. So I text her, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad that we picked Nothing Else Matters, because I didn't want to mix business and pleasure and you tainting the crew for the rest of my life.
That's great. Yeah, that's it.
Asshole. She's like, I'm glad you're having fun. I'm like, yeah, so
Yeah.
great. So
So what's funny about like me trying to remember your email, right? Because I messaged you and I'm like, Nick. I'm like, no, is it Demon Scar? I'm like going back and forth. I'm like, God damn, I'm like scrolling, and I saw where you sent it to me, and I was like, of course, crew punk. I'm like, this motherfucker legit as fuck with the crew, man.
Crew Punk 69. That was also my AOL handle forever.
Yeah. He's about that life.
A life, man.
About
Crew
that
Punk
life.
69 at AOL and Crew Punk 69 at Yahoo.
So yeah, all right. Just in quick closing here, I'm gonna just talk about like night two. What I really loved, I didn't really think I would care, but the Thin Lizzy cover, I think it went over very well. Whiskey in a Jar.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like I thought it was just, it was just like a very different variation to the set and stuff, and them just I don't know, just worked. It was like a really cool like sprinkle in that set, and then we get one, which like Langan said before, you got like the Johnny's Got a Gun, whatever. I don't even know if that's the footage that they used, but just a lot of like firing and stuff like that. And one is super special to me because it was the first video that I saw of theirs, of course, because that was their first video. and it really made me want to play music. I was like 10 watching them do this, and like I wanted to be Kirk Hammett. That's what I wanted. I wanted to play guitar like that, and obviously I never ended up playing guitar like that, but it was such an important song to me. So anytime they do it, it's just that whole ending and that fucking like double bass, and it's like unbelievable. But then they close out with Enter Sandman, which is quite possibly like the worst song on the planet.
Yeah.
But boy, when they play it, like I feel like I don't know, maybe like 30% of the crowd, like that's the song. Because when they play it, it was deafening. Deafening. Like people were like, I mean, they really love it. So it's just amazing to fucking see.
Well, you get your cross section of Mariano Rivera fans or Yankee fans
yeah.
who just like get all into it.
Yeah.
Along with the fans of Black Album predominantly, like that's when they hopped on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And were introduced to
Right.
that. So that's got the good demographic to
Yeah.
close with, I guess.
No, yeah. Listen, they did something. I'm in a band, and I don't have Enter Sandman, so
They did a thing.
they did a thing.
Oh.
So, merch game. What did we get? Anything?
I got the one with the skulls on it, and I grabbed one in the parking lot too.
Me
Oh,
too.
did you?
Yeah.
I got a gray shirt for Zozo from the parking lot, but I got a ball.
Oh, you got a
shit.
ball. Oh, yeah. That's
So
awesome.
what happened was night one, it falls. They all fall except for one that was limp and 3/4 deflated. It falls straight down, and the security guard's looking at it. So I'm like, give it to me, give it to me. So he hands it to me. So I bear hug it, and I fucking all of a sudden, like 5 guys come at me, and I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. And I'm like throwing my legs, and I like just make a beeline to the exit during that song. So I ended up dragging it through the parking lot, and I met my friends, and I opened up the valve, and everyone sat on it, and we deflated the rest of it.
That's awesome.
I just don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with it now.
I mean, you got
Wow.
you got mad shit. So
Oh man, it's big. It's real big. Like it's fucking like I don't even know, like 10 feet fucking circumference, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's huge.
That's
Big
how
enough to take a baby out.
That's yeah. That video, I love that video. But I didn't know that the balls were that big. That's pretty crazy.
Oh, they're fucking huge, man.
Big balls.
Big balls.
What did you get, Joe?
I got myself, well, I have enough Metallica t-shirts, so I was looking towards the winter, so I got myself the hoodie, the zip up hoodie. I wish it was pullover, but the logo of the yellow M was on the chest insignia, and then on the back there was 2 versions of it, and you could either get the crib that's that the 72 Seasons album cover where the 18-year-old breaks out, or the silhouette of I guess Metallica's shadows standing in a tunnel or something. It kind of looks like Overkill's Feel the Fire cover, because they're all like, it looks exactly like the same pose of 4 guys in the shadows. So I got that one, and that was like $90. And then I got my kid the event shirt, which is like MetLife Stadium and the dates, and the picture of the arena on the back. And in the parking lot, because me and my friends hung out in the parking lot because we knew it was going to be hell to get out of there. So we got out of there, and they wanted 20 for the bootlegs, which was like I don't know if it was on sale on the inside. I'm not sure if it was that same shirt, but it had the lyrics to "Screaming Suicide" on it, and it looked like a Pusshead artwork design, and then the
They
dates
didn't
on
have
the
it
back.
inside.
Yeah, so that was like a custom job, right? Like somebody put that together for this. Yeah,
I saw that. It was nice looking.
but by the time we waited them out, because the parking lot's thinning out and they want to get rid of their stuff, I got mine for $15.
Oh,
So,
that's good. Yeah,
Nice.
that's cool. They throw in a bag of weed with it, or not so much?
not this time. Maybe,
Okay.
yeah.
Yo, so real quick, in closing, Langan, how long did it take you to get from your seat to like a main highway?
Oh, leaving there?
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't have even a good number. Time started to to just not matter anymore. Like I just I'm like, I guess we're just gonna live here now.
Yeah.
You know? I
Okay.
don't know.
I was
It
wondering,
was
Nick.
just chaos.
First night, 5 minutes. Second night, 2.5 hours.
How did you get 5 minutes?
Oh,
How did
because you were the
Oh,
press.
he had the hooked up spot the first time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
I was with the media.
All right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's why karma served you on day 2.
Day two
That's-
was the first. I actually banged in from like the parking lot.
Yeah, that's great. Good job,
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, about 90 minutes, I'd say.
Me too.
Before I got to the, when the sand's in the hourglass, kind of like, there's the highway. Go from my seat. Yeah, about 90 minutes.
About 90 minutes
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
That's a good estimate.
It
Yeah.
took me 90 minutes to get there. And it took it was just unbelievable. Like once like we were waiting in the parking garage and we were just like, I just couldn't even comprehend. I'm like, how is no one moving right now? It doesn't even make sense. And we just sat there forever. So shout out to Parker. Parker took an Uber. We were talking to our pod partner, Brian Parker, and he is like, yeah, I took an Uber in and out. I'm thinking like, holy shit, that sounds outrageous from Farmingdale to fucking like wherever
What was it?
MetLife is.
Oh,
What was that?
Was it like 170 or more?
So $1 each way, so 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
whoa.
With two guys.
That's
I'm
not
saying when
bad.
you add up tolls and gas, I don't even know why that guy charged it too little.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
I would have
man.
charged more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been like, all right, I'm using your Easy Pass.
Yeah. Right.
Cool, man. So listen, another Metallica episode, another Metallica tour done. Very last question here. In a perfect world, Langan, what's one song that you wish they would have done?
One. I would
One
have.
for you.
I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Nick.
Leper Messiah.
Okay. Joe.
I know they would never do this for obvious reasons, but like Jump in the Fire would have been awesome to see, for the Kill 'Em All days, but that's a Mustaine song.
Yeah.
So I doubt they've ever done that after he left the band. They might have, but yeah, that's like, the Whiplash. It's that era of like Kill 'Em All. You're like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen this live. So I've never seen Whiplash live or something like Jump in the Fire, but they did do Seek and Destroy for us on night 1, which is cool.
Which is great. Yeah.
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 Yep.
I got Blackened, and I think Blackened was my highlight. To me, like
Mhm.
that was the best thing from that night. So if I were to pick a song that I wish they would do, title track, Injustice for All. That's my shit. I fucking
yeah.
love that song. It's so and I get it where they talk about like, man, we never want to play these songs again because they're so long and
Yeah.
everyone just stares at us.
I want to say, I was looking at the set list for night 2, and like I noticed, I don't know if this is just my observation, but yeah, they did Blackened, which is like pretty intense for
Yeah.
Lars, like a lot of timekeeping. Then he could rest with Whiskey in the Jar,
Yes.
and then
And-
they did One,
Rest.
and then they rested with Enter Sandman. At least
Yeah.
if I was Lars, I'd plan it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
For sure. Cool, man. Yo, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, man.
Let's check out Nick's new podcast.
Primal
Yeah.
Greystone. It's like I said, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. It's gonna be on my Facebook page and Gov's Comedy Club. And yeah, so that's coming out. Demon Scar, we got some new singles coming out. The Forest Hills is still in post-production hell right now, and we're trying to get that out. And
And your picture, yo. So when they were talking, you live near Rex too. Fucking Joe, because like you guys are both. I guess you guys right. Like,
I live in, so I'm his neighbor from 4 towns over,
okay.
Where do you live?
Belmore.
Oh, I'm in Belmore, dude.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, I'm right off of Jerusalem.
Oh yeah, I'm off of Newbridge Road by Seb's.
So,
Oh, all right. And so Josh
Don't
is
give
here.
your addresses out. The
Yeah.
fucking the public.
yeah,
You're gonna get bum rushed.
there might be a second killer out there.
Yeah, we're a couple towns away.
What's funny is like your picture kind of went viral because they're talking to you. They're talking to Nick, and he's wearing like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre hat. And
Yes.
and our boy, Gore-Tex from Nonfiction, like he's like a friend of ours. He's a rapper, if anyone, but it was just like a random thing, and he messages me that picture, and I was like, I know that guy, right? He's like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, yo, 100%. He's like, yo, tell him I'm a fan.
That's awesome.
It was just like
know who you are. I like the name.
yeah.
That's awesome. Maybe we could collab, Gore-Tex. You never know. I'll wear the hat.
Oh, that's another here, like another thing to continue. You're playing with one of the Insane Posse guy. Insane. All right, so you're in a band called Demon Scar, which is like a metal band. But then also you do like a hip hop thing under NZA, which is a combination of Nikki Sixx and RZA.
Yeah,
guys. So, tell us about the Shaggy 2 Dope. Is that the guy, right?
Yeah, Shaggy 2 Dope. It's September 15th. I have like a 20-minute set, and I'm doing it with my longtime collaborator with the hip hop stuff. His name is K Lovely. And we got like 4 songs, and we're gonna give it a go. He's never done it before. I just hid behind the bass and did my thing. So yeah, just trying something new and see how it goes, man. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're in there. I love people that do shit, and you do shit. Whether it's helping the movie get made, the Forest Hill stuff or whatever else you got going on, the band, the hip hop stuff, the podcast, you do a lot of lives and stuff. So like, I love anyone that just does shit, and you do shit. So we're a fan.
I'm a fan of yours too. And I'm just letting you know, bro, I'm playing Dead on the podcast next week. You'll be the featured band because I'm going to pick a song each week and put them on there. I put a band on. Last night I put Wrecked on, but you guys are up. So
awesome. I appreciate you. Yeah.
The first song off of the new EP. I dig that tune.
Yeah, we're gonna film a video for that. So we'll figure that out. We need you in the audience for sure.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. I'd love to.
Cool. Guys, thanks for hanging out on a fucking I don't know what's today, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Metal up your ass, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So we haven't dropped an episode in minutes. I'm gonna put this out Friday, and then we'll do like the Spinal Tap episode, and hopefully this weekend. So
well, what about the Motley Crue versus Rat one?
Let's do it. So, all right. So you want to do that?
Well, we got that guy from. When are we doing?
So, Nick, did you watch the Paramount Plus thing? I Want to Rock.
No,
it's fucking really good. Oh my god,
so good.
Are you kidding me?
About it.
3 episodes. They interview John Corabi, Janet
Vixen.
Gardner from Vixen, Kip Winger. They pick like 5 subjects.
Snake Sabo.
Right.
It's basically 3 episodes of like a combination of back then and now. And it's great. It's just 3 episodes of like Sunset Strip type shit and like what they're doing now. It's really
their rise, their heyday, the downfall and stuff. But it's really well done. Like really, really well done.
So it's so good that I was watching it and I was like, yo, who the fuck directed this shit? Because it was great. And I fucking like even like the Karabi shit was just like fascinating. So I see him on Instagram, and I didn't think he was gonna respond. I'm like, yo, I'm watching this shit. It's fucking killer. And he wrote back. He's like, yo, man. He's like, I feel like no one's watching this shit. So the director.
Oh, okay.
I feel like no one's watching this, so I appreciate you reaching out and telling me that. And like we were just going back and forth. I wasn't gonna ask him anything, but he was so like cool. And he also did the I Want My MTV documentary, which I know, Joe, you know.
Great.
Yeah. So same thing. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm like, I'm a jerk off like everyone else, and I have a podcast if you ever wanted to do it. And he's probably like, fuck, I got engaged in this conversation. He was stroking my ego. Now I'm doing a stupid podcast.
Oh, so you go.
Never answering a DM again. So, but you got to watch it, and we'll do the Rat thing. So We're gonna do Rat versus Motley Crue, and we'll start off with the first albums because I think that both of them have a strong 5 out the gate.
Yeah.
So then we'll do 5 episodes of that. We'll go with the self-titled. We'll do with what Out of the Cellar and fucking
Invasion.
Oh, versus Shout at the Devil.
No versus the first Crew record. Too Fast for Love.
Too fast.
So
Oh,
we'll do
boy.
that. Yeah,
That should be fun.
Yeah, if you want to
Absolutely.
come back and fucking and do it with us, Nick, let's do it.
You know my picks, dude, so I can't. Man. No.
Yeah, you're right. You're like Motley Crue again and again.
Oh yeah. On Crew. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I would love to.
All right, cool. Yo, guys, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Later, dudes.
Everything up.
Peace out.
Bye.
Later.